The reason I'm actually making a fool of myself and talking to this camera is I reckon I have a pretty cool job. And what that job is travelling around Australia with the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship and working for Garry Rogers Motorsport. And my role within that team is a videographer. So basically I just throw the camera in their faces and get them to talk to me and put some music behind it and throw some B-roll over the top, and it turns into something that I call the weekend wrap. We also do tech talks, which are always intriguing. It gives people a little more insight into the behind the scenes kind of stuff for supercars. And that's what I'm kind of aiming with this vlog to do also, is to give a little bit more background and behind the scenes into it from my perspective and what I do in life. So I pretty much work, I'm kind of borderline between part-time and full-time with McLeod Media, which is my business. It's at that stage where I'm still studying, but I'm also getting more frequent work, corporate work, follow-on supercars work with some drivers and fitness videos. So a question that I get asked a lot is how to actually start McLeod Media and get it to where it is today. So it all started, I was 16, my 16th birthday. My parents bought me a 600D Canon camera. Originally I wanted to be a radiographer, so I went and did work experience in year 10 as a radiographer at the hospital, and that was cool, but then I realised I had to do physics in year 12 to do that, and because physics sucks. August 2015, Jay Marmont brought a school to Grafton Motorcycle Club, and I flicked it from photo mode to video mode, and that's where I started. And from there I did a lot of free work. So I'm a big believer in volunteering. Well, I know a lot of people criticise it, but I volunteered for 3 years before I got my first paid gig in supercars. So I did 2 years as a pit lane official. So I used to fund myself to get to every race event. I got an opportunity at Winton in 2017 to work for Supercars Media as a volunteer, as a production runner. Did that. I had an absolute blast. I met a lot of cool people. Then I did that for the rest of the year. So I paid for myself to get there, flights, accommodation, everything. It was all off my own back and from my part-time job. Then I went to the AusX Open with the AME crew who I'd been volunteering for. Met Sally from GRM. Here we are. I worked crazy hard at it. I knew it's exactly what I wanted to do with my life. Another question that come through is, can I give some tips for someone who wants to become just like me? And if you want to become just like me, you're in a bit of trouble because, whoa. But from more of a professional side, I'd say that you need to make contacts. That is the biggest thing in this industry. It's not what you know. You can be the best person at making videos in the world, but if you don't know the right people, the opportunities won't be presented to you in terms of a way that you can grab them and make the most of them. You got to work incredibly hard because this industry is cutthroat, seriously, and it's full on. After race weekends, I can't even do anything for 2 days after it because I'm just exhausted. Like, I put so much time and effort and brain power into making sure I can make the best stuff I can, and it's exhausting. I get sick because I'm so run down, but I love it. I love the adrenaline from being involved in an industry that's so fast-paced. Like, just got to be ready to go. Like, I have a relatively easy job in terms of what everyone else does. I'm just there to capture all the hectic stuff that happens. I'm not actually involved in the hectic stuff, which is a good and a bad thing. I'm there for all those moments and right in the midst of the action, but it's my job to maintain a professional distance between it. You don't want to get too involved in it because you're just the camera person, but you also need to be able to do a good job for your client and capture the things that they want captured and get them out on their social media in like quick turnaround times. And so in terms of who I work for Garry Rogers Motorsport in supercars, Wall Racing in Porsche. I also work with Adam Marjoram in Super 2, as well as Garry Rogers 2 Super 2 cars, which are Mason Barbera and Chris Pither. I do a little bit of design and videography work with Mark Winterbottom, who was actually the first person to give me a start in the industry. Him and his wife Renee got me involved in the whole supercars thing. They gave me a chance, and I'll be forever grateful to Renee especially, and Mark as well, for getting me involved. It made me realise that it's exactly what I wanted to do with my life. So anyone who knew me prior to this year knew that I was a huge fan of supercars. I grew up with my dad watching Bathurst. I grew up watching the races on TV. My first event was the Gold Coast 600 in 2013. I went with a year 9 school trip, and that has been a big challenge for me to go from being a fan of the sport to being someone who travels with the sport and works with the team. It's something I've had to balance a lot between wanting to be a fan and enjoying the fan side of things, like the events and all the cool stuff that happens, and had to balance that with filming and interviewing and making content that people actually want to watch. And another question that come through is, in terms of working with drivers and teams that I've admired for so long, I try and play it down because the fangirl thing is not looked at well from people who are in the industry, but I feel like everyone who works with supercars was a fan at some point, because it's honestly such a big investment to work the calendar that they do, and I feel like you have to be interested and invested in the results to actually continue working there. Anyways, I feel like that is enough dribble for the first vlog, because I really have to stop doing that when I say vlog. I feel like that is enough dribble for the first vlog, video, blog that I'm making. Any more questions? You know, do that thing that people do when they point and say drop it below, because I will answer it. Coming up will be a next week from, oh golly, probably from tomorrow to Sandown weekend, because so much is happening. There's a few things happening that I can't say, but you know, it's a retro round, which means I'm filming a retro release on Monday, and I'll get some behind the scenes for that, because when I post the next vlog, the retro will have been released, and you can all see the behind the scenes of how I make a video like that. You know, that was that. McLeod Vlogs, later.